If you want to lose weight, you have to do all of that. I know you've been bombarded with healthy habits to lose the weight, skinny girl habits, but let's talk about the habits that really work and will have the most impact, and those that are just wasting your time and potentially your health. We've got this little tier thing here. I am actually going to start at the bottom of the list and build my way up, so at the end you should know what are the most important habits to focus on and are going to be the most impactful, so you don't get overwhelmed trying to do everything at once, but you just end up with a small list. Let's get started. First one, extreme caloric restriction. You know, when you go on some calorie calculator, they are actually going to give you an amount that you should eat in order to lose 500 grams, 750 grams, 1 kg, if not more, and they're going to give you a number for you to follow. But the faster you try to lose the weight, the bigger the deficit you would need, if that even works, which is an entire other topic. However, especially for women, you don't want to go too low. 15% calorie deficit to maximize fat loss, minimize the chances of your metabolism going too low, and losing your period, your health, your hair, stuff like that. So extreme calorie deficit definitely goes to the bottom of the list. Second thing, detox teas and cleanses. I think I've been very vocal about my opinion on that. They are bullshit, they just help you poop. It can be good for digestion to have some sort of detox teas, just because that's literally what they're for. But most of them, if not all, are marketed to help you lose weight. Technically, you're losing poop weight, but that's pretty much it. Cleanses are absolutely useless. Again, if you do lose weight when you do those detox, it's just food weight that went away, not actual fat. So it's absolutely useless, can be harmful because you can develop EDs, and it's just no point in doing that at all. Next, daily weigh-ins. I do get that it can get the motivation rolling to see the weight going down. However, again, especially for women, our weight fluctuates so much. For example, on our periods, we can gain a few pounds, and it's just water retention. And it can also do that during ovulation time. And there's just so much. If you had more salt the day before, if you had a weightlifting sessions the day before, all things like that are going to sort of add up and make your weight fluctuate more than you would think. Fat loss is never going to be linear in the sense of going down just, it's going to what matters is that over time it goes down, but it's always going to have those fluctuations. And if the weight on the scale in the morning determines how you'll feel during the day, it can be counterproductive to weigh yourself every day. I usually tell my clients to weigh themselves the day of our one-on-one call, just that way we have the latest metrics, but they don't have to be obsessed over it and knowing every single day. Some of them weigh themselves twice per week, but that is the maximum I would recommend. Do not try to weigh yourself every day. Let's say that your weight does go down, you're going to be super excited and you're going to have a good day, and then the next day it's going to go slightly back up or not move, and you're gonna have a bad day, you're gonna feel less motivated, you're not gonna go to the gym, you're not gonna work out, you may binge, you may, emotional eating, stuff like that. So that's why it is so key. First of all, not only focus on the weight, but also don't weigh yourself every day. This one is definitely going at the bottom of the list. Specific diets like keto or low carbs. I have to make an entire video dedicated on low carb because there's so much to say. At its core, when you stop eating carbs, which is an entire food group, by the way, an entire macro that is supposed to give you energy. First of all, let's let that sink in. Why would you do that to yourself? Fruits, veggies are carbs, and carbs tend to retain water in your body, which is not a bad thing. That means that your body stay hydrated. If you stop eating carbs, that means less water retention, and therefore you're gonna lose a bunch of weight. Think about it this way. When you make French toast, you're gonna soak red toast thingy into the egg, and then you take it off and you cook it, right? This is exactly what happens in your body. It's just gonna soak the water and keep that water. But if there's no more toast, literally, carbs in your body, you won't have that water retention, so it's going to feel like you're losing a bunch of weight. But again, it's going to be water weight, potentially food weight, because cutting an entire food group, I don't know what the options are in terms of eating after that. As soon as you start reintroducing carbs, you're just going to gain that weight back. It was just water, it was just food, it was not actual fat, and you want to lose fat, not just weight. Let's move on to the C tier. It's kind of neutral, potentially unsustainable, sort of depends how you use them. Let's get into this. Right, the first one is intermittent fasting. When you eat within a specific period of time, some people do, I don't know, 12-12, some people do a 10-14, you see the point. The thing with that is you have to be really good at not binging when you feel super hungry, because obviously, let's say that you decide to have just 2 meals, skipping breakfast, I feel like you're more likely to experience intense hunger and potentially binge as a result of, you know, pushing the first meal to as far as possible during the day. So that really depends. I know that some people are definitely not breakfast people, they cannot deal with that, and that's fine. And it can also be much easier to just take a meal out of the day instead of calorie counting. I get that, but I still feel that it may fuck up your relationship with food and the general journey. Let's keep moving. We have cheat days and cheat meals. First things first, I definitely don't like cheat days. I don't like the concept of allowing yourself to eat everything, even to the point when you make yourself sick and just forcing food down because after that, you know, you're not gonna eat as much. That can be really dangerous for, again, your relationship to food and how you view food. Of course, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas, stuff like that, celebration, when you have a bunch of food, sure. But when you get out of your way to have cheat meals and actually eat more food, it can definitely have a triggering impact. And what I would recommend is doing refeed days. Let's say every 3 weeks, for example, especially on a cut, you may want to do a day where, I don't know, let's say 200 extra calories, or actually going back to maintenance, but that should be about right. It can be good, you know, for your body. It can definitely be easier on your mental as well. And when it comes to cheat meals, again, don't really like the term because it sort of adds the guilt/shame effect, which we don't want. Food is just food. There's no guilt that should be attached to what you eat. No type of self-worth attached to whether you've eaten good or bad. No actual terms of good or bad should be used when it comes to food, in my opinion. The good thing about cheat meals could potentially be that you would allow yourself a treat and still see results. For example, a lot of my clients have that regularly. We don't label it as cheat meals, just, you know, life happening, and they just know, oh, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna eat this. Okay, cool. What can you do to make sure you stay within your average deficit throughout the week? And how can you make sure that you don't get into a fuck it mentality, all or nothing? When you have throughout the week the snacks or the meals that you feel aren't as good, again, quote unquote, and yet still see results, which all of my clients have been able to do, that sort of helps you reframe food as just food and see food as just food. So that's why there is a little bit of a j'ai le mot en français, pas en anglais, potentially be neutral, but depending on how you frame it, it can sort of even go down to, you know, a D tier. Point being, I do not believe in cheat days. I believe in allowing yourself to eat a little bit of everything. You know, the 75-25 approach is great. When you see food as sometimes more nutriently dense than others, more than good or bad, and inherent meaningful how you're acting and who you are as well. Next habit, using fat loss supplements. Depending on what you use, it can be okay or not. For example, the fat burner stuff, absolute bullshit. Don't know what they do, probably also helps you just poop. What I do recommend, for example, is using supplements that will make you feel better on this journey. I used to use rhodiola a lot because it was great for energy and stress level. You can use magnesium. Again, that's great for stress levels and sleep. Ways to improve your overall lifestyle while you're on this fitness journey, especially fat loss, rather than trying to find something that will make you lose weight. Just doing that, usually bullshit. It doesn't happen this way. If you don't work out and if you don't do the habits that actually matter, as we're gonna see later, you're not gonna see results. So supplements that help you on the journey, sure. Supplements that are specifically for weight loss, bullshit. Quick break. I've noticed that most people who watch this channel actually are not subscribed, so please, 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 if you could help me reverse these statistics, it would mean the world to me. Helps the channel and me more than you think. Thank you so much. Let's get right back. Right, let's move on to the B tier, which are basically conditionally useful. Reducing sugar, for example, is great in itself, right? It can definitely help, especially when it comes to, you know, the added sugar, especially when it comes to the waste. That tends to be where it's going to be stored. And you know, it's never bad for your body, for your skin, for everything to reduce your sugar intake. But the thing is, it can get a little bit obsessive. And you know, there's sugar in fruits, for example. So I don't really believe in, if you're trying to lose weight, don't focus on that. I mean, we're going to talk about the 4 or 5 habits that really matter, and that's the only ones that you should actively focus on. If those 5 habits are easy to follow through, be consistent with, sure, be my guest, reduce sugar. I never have my clients track their sugar intake, for example. Sure, when you reduce sugar, you can reduce a lot of calories, but overall, still not the most impactful. Let's move on to meal prep. I suck at that. I've recently been able to sort of get into it, and it definitely makes your life easier. But if you suck at that, and I really easily get overwhelmed with cooking because I'm not so good at it. I'm trying to get better and I am getting better, but it's still not is my thing. One of my housemates is really good at that. Kind of a little bit jealous because I wish, but you can meal prep for the whole week, meal prep for a couple days in advance, have 2 meal prep days. It can be useful. It can also be overwhelming depending on how much you want to do it. And it can be as simple as preparing your breakfast the night before, so in the morning you just have to eat that. That could be an option. That is, for me, the easiest way to meal prep is just doing one meal at a time that way. For example, when you cook, preparing 2 portions, that way you don't have to cook the next day. Next we have eating more fibers. Again, sure, that's great, that's going to be keeping you fuller for longer, it's great for digestions. Fibers are great, you know, fruits, veggies, especially complex carbs, fibers are great. But again, that's not the most impactful when it comes to fat loss, and this is what this video is about, finding the most impactful habits for fat loss. You know, we have the usual 25 grams of fibers per day, but I don't make my clients track. Sure, you can focus on eating more fruits, more veggies, but at the end of the day, this is not the most impactful. So that's why it is going to be in the B tier instead of anything higher. Next we have ab workouts. They are sort of part of my warm-up, but I definitely don't do more than 5 to 10 minutes. I do assume that when you do some weightlifting, for example, you are engaging your core and therefore you are supposedly doing some ab workout. But you know, doing ab workouts to snatch your waist and everything, again, not the best thing. What will have the most impact, as we're going to see later, is nutrition, and we're going to talk about it a bit more in detail. Carbs are made in the kitchen. That's not a myth. Cliche for a reason. Next we have cutting out processed food. Again, that's great to try to eat more whole food, more nutrient-dense food, and sort of get away from the packaged food. That's also going to help you reduce your sugar intake, for example. It can get to a very obsessive orthorexia type of vibes, which I don't want. When I start working with my clients, we're going to work with what they're already doing and replace a few stuff. So they're not going to go completely from 0 to 100, completely transform their diet. Later down the road, sure, when it gets easier, you can do a little bit of that, but that is not what will have the biggest impact on your fat loss journey. Sure, processed food tends to have a lot of high calories, but still not the most impactful. I can't feel my legs. Alright, time to move on to the A tier. Quite helpful and sustainable habits, but again, not the most impactful when it comes to fat loss. First one is cardio, whether it's LISS or HIIT, and I definitely think that it is really helpful to create a calorie deficit. For example, LISS can be 45 minutes of whatever you enjoy doing for that matter. It can be 10k steps, and HIIT workouts are great for fat loss and burning a lot of fat and burning a lot of calories, not only during the workouts, but also after. So overall, cardio just helps you, I don't want to say make the process faster, but definitely helps with calorie burning. Hence why it's earned its place in the A tier. Drinking more water. Again, very helpful, very sustainable habits. Your body's mostly water. You do need a lot of water. It's helpful in times of digestion, and it also sort of keeps you fuller for longer. So when you are in a calorie deficit, it can be good to drink a lot of water just to make sure you don't mindlessly snack, for example, or feel too hungry. Especially if you have stuff like tea or even sparkling water that will have like some sort of bubbles in there, so therefore that sort of fills your stomach, making it easier for you to be in a deficit. We have tracking your progress, not as obsessively as the daily weight-in, but taking progress pictures every 2 to 3 weeks and weighting yourself every week or maybe twice per week. You can also take your measurement every 3-4 weeks and also have a reference piece of clothing that you can try every single time and see how it fits. All of these will help you stay more motivated and stay motivated for longer. Just because the best way to keep on doing something is when you see that it works. Let's move to the S tier, and I'm gonna finish it with the most important habit. We obviously have first weightlifting. That is great to build your lean body mass, build some muscle, get your glutes, have some curves, you know, have that hourglass figure. It is so key. And the good thing is muscles are metabolically active, meaning that it's going to be burning a lot of calories even at rest, so you have a higher metabolism, or at least it doesn't go too low as you lose weight. I've made an entire video on why weightlifting and having muscle is great, so that's definitely in the S tier. Next we have high protein intake for so many reasons. Again, I'm pretty sure I made a video about this, but you know, it's going to keep you fuller for longer, it's going to help you maintain your lean body mass. Your body needs a lot of energy to digest the protein and use it and break it down, hence why 20 to 30% of the calories you eat from the proteins are used to break down these proteins. So you know what's not to like about that. And you're gonna probably ask how much. 1.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight is a great start, and then you build that up to 1.8, if not 2 grams. Next, calorie deficit. Obviously, that's what leads to fat loss. That's what leads to, you know, having that snatched waist. And this is the second most important habit that you need to follow every single day and be consistent with, at least on average, to see the best results. All of my clients are on the 15% calorie calorie deficit, not more, because we don't want to be overly restrictive. We still want to have enough food because we still need to fuel the body. I've made an entire video on calorie deficit, why yours may not be working, what to do about it, so definitely watch that as well. And the last, the most important habit that you could have is sleep. Getting 7.5 to 9 hours of sleep is so freaking important, because everything else that you do is going to be impacted by sleep. Let's think about it. When you don't sleep enough, what happens? You're super hungry, mostly for the processed food, mostly for the high in sugar, high in fat food, because you didn't have the energy through sleep, so that your body is going to ask for that energy in other ways. You also are less likely to follow through with your workouts because you're too tired. So you need to get your sleep really in check, 7.5 hours. Try to have a good night routine when you sort of log off and actually get to have quality sleep. That will have the biggest impact. Recovery is so key for, muscle maintenance and even muscle building. It will help you if you are going through weight plateau to actually break that down. Most often, the thing that helped the most in breaking through weight plateau is very often taking a rest day, sleeping a bit more, making sure your body recovers. So yeah, sleep, sleep, sleep. It is so important, so slept on, pun intended. So there you have it. That's my little habit tiers list. Exactly what you should not focus on, all the way up to the habits that really matter if you want to see transformation like this. If you're ready to lose 20 pounds within 90 days without starving yourself, spending hours doing cardio every single day, without saying goodbye to your favorite food and social events, and of course without gaining the weight back, just apply for one-on-one coaching down below by booking a call with me. On this call, we'll talk about your body transformation, the challenges, what may be going wrong. My camera died and I really want to be done with this video, so we're gonna do on the phone. Apply for one-on-one coaching down below. We'll see if and how I can support you. If I can, I'll welcome you into my program. I've done it myself. My clients are all doing it, so why not you? But yeah, that was the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.